Not as long as me.
The wait is over. This week, Click takes a ride around a smarter city where big queues are giving way to big data. We'll also breathe heavily over the uplifting tech that keeps England's finest on the ball. All that plus the latest tech news and a music tutorial that makes playing the guitar as easy as EADGBE in Webscape. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. These days, more and more ordinary objects are going online and telling the world about themselves, giving off information about where they are and what they're doing. The grand vision is that one day, all of this data will be gathered and processed and used to make our lives easier and to help make systems and whole cities run smoother and smarter. Cities generate an enormous amount of data every day. In London, 8 million residents can already find out where and when their trains, buses and planes will arrive. The information is all there, available through a multitude of apps and websites. And it's not only the transport network that broadcasts its status, we do too. If you own an Android smartphone, for example, the chances are your location and speed are being collected and turned into live traffic information on Google Maps. Parking spaces are also getting smarter. In this exclusive part of town, an exclusive trial is helping dapper clientele find a well-fitting spot. These sensors in parking bays report back their availability every few seconds, allowing visitors to find vacant spaces through this app. But it's not just about parking right now. These graphs should give an insight into the likelihood of finding a space at any time of the day you choose. Over time, this collected data can also help the council to make better parking arrangements.
What we've been able to establish is that we probably haven't got the parking mix right in Savile Row. So we might have too many residence bays, or we might have too many casual parking bays. So what we're doing with that data is saying, look, perhaps we can use this to reconfigure the streets and provide more spaces for people that actually need them at the right times of the day.
Smart parking, smart buses, smart trains, smart us. But what's not so smart is the fact that all of these projects are separate ventures and they don't talk to each other. And that means that in London, at least, the data generated by all these apps is the only thing guaranteed to flow freely.
For a city to get smarter, you need to draw them all together. And that's why we've come here to Dublin. Like many cities, it already has plenty of sensors about the place. It has traffic cameras, hello there. It has sensors under the tarmac to detect traffic flow. The buses report their positions back to base. But crucially, this city has volunteered itself to be a test bed, to see what happens when you gather all that information together and to see whether it can be used to predict the future.
At IBM's Dublin Research Centre, a new traffic management system is analysing the city's circulation, trying to spot patterns in the ebb and flow of the traffic. Incidents, accidents, closures and weather can all have knock-on effects beyond their immediate surroundings, and by watching what happens after particular combinations of events, the system should be able to advise officials on how a future problem might affect the city's nervous system. And it won't just rely on Dublin's official eyes and ears. It will also mash up social network updates like our own moans about the traffic and other information streams, such as the weather report and even rising groundwater levels. Assimilating all of this data into a big picture means that potential problems can be spotted and resolved before they even become problems.
taking that data and then breaking it down and building models. So what's the relationship between weather and how people drive? What's the relationship maybe between temperature or humidity? What's the relationship between, is it the day of the week or the time of the day? And so what we need to do is we need enough data to build models that can then help us to predict and optimize more accurately. So that's part of the research, is to say, we need effective methods to handle very large volumes of data, but we also need very effective algorithms so that we can do predictions when we've never seen the data for that.
The ultimate goal is to use a city's existing infrastructure more intelligently, rather than expanding it. If a train is delayed, for example, the bus outside the station should know that it has to wait so it doesn't travel empty and leave the next one to be overcrowded. This app, still in the early stages of development, uses these sophisticated prediction algorithms to minimize journey times and, just as importantly, waiting times between each mode of transport. It will know about any congestion and also use historical data to tell you how that might affect your onward journey and make a more reliable estimate of your arrival time. It should also know if there are any city hire bikes available and then guess whether there'll be a space to dock it at your destination at that time of day.
Increasingly, it'll be more about a personalised kind of system. So your bus is there in 5 minutes, off you go. You get on board the bus, as you're on the bus, and you get another ping saying, look, there's an accident ahead, you're better off getting off this bus, picking up a Dublin bike or something like that and moving off. So all the way through your journey, you're being provided with information, and you're also providing information back as you travel through. You may be, by your tweets, by your text, whatever it is, maybe saying, look, this is a really slow bus, this is a really good route, whatever. And even when you're sitting in a pub in the evening, and it's coming close to the last bus, you get a ping saying, look, your last bus is 10 minutes away, do you want to go? Or look, here's the nearest taxi rank, here's how much it will cost, here's who's there.
A smarter city is also a greener city. For example, fewer traffic jams mean fewer idling vehicles spewing harmful emissions into pedestrians' airspace. Current attempts to reduce pollution haven't proved quite as smart. In Mexico City and Beijing, for example, each car is forbidden from driving for 1 day a week, depending on the last digit of its license plate. But that just led to drivers avoiding the ban by buying a second car with a different license plate. And it's in the developing world where IBM hopes to make the biggest impact. These are the movements of the citizens of Abidjan in the Ivory Coast, captured by monitoring mobile phone signals. By observing the flow of the workday, bus routes can be extended to ease the congestion in particularly busy areas. By 2050, 9 billion people, 70% of us, will live in cities, with the most expansion expected in the developing world. By helping to plan and shape the circulation now, those cities stand more of a chance of breathing more freely for longer.
Okay, next up, a look at this week's tech news.
A student falsely linked to the Boston Marathon bombings on a social media site has been found dead by members of his university rowing team in a river near Rhode Island. It's not clear exactly when Sunil Tripathi, who'd been missing since March the 16th, died. He was one of 2 people wrongly identified as suspects by users of the site Reddit. Reddit had already apologised both to his family and publicly after discussions about the bombings provoked an online witch hunt, with the pair's names and pictures trending on Twitter and being printed on the front page of the New York Post. Another news agency fell foul of a suspected phishing attack this week. Associated Press's @AP Twitter account published a bogus post about explosions at the White House. The post caused stock markets to dip temporarily, with the Dow Jones shedding 150 points, or $137 billion, before it became clear the account had been hacked. A group calling itself the Syrian Electronic Army claimed to be behind the attack. Who said playing too many video games could damage your eyesight? Scientists have discovered that a few rounds of Tetris can help treat lazy eye with the help of these specially designed goggles. Each eye is given different bits of information, forcing both to work together. Canadian professors at McGill University say playing the 80s video game using both eyes worked better than conventional patching of the good eye in a small study of 18 adults. And finally, out of this world or out of their minds, how about an interplanetary reality show based on a manned trip to Mars? Dutch non-profit organisation Mars One is already scouting for potential contestants for the one-way, 7-month trip, even though the tech isn't quite ready yet. When colonists arrive, they'd live in a specially designed habitat to protect them from Mars's extreme temperatures and thin atmosphere. It's not clear whether selling the global TV rights would pay for the trip, which is estimated at around $6 billion.
And still to come on Click this week, it's more than just a game, you know. We'll look at the secret high-tech tactics behind the goals. And short, sharp shouts. The new video microblogging service Tout is under consideration in this week's Webscape.